Well, Ontario's housing minister is holding a news conference right now as the government faces pushback over what it may count as housing. Let's listen in.
And the tools they need to build more homes and to build the infrastructure needed to support homes of all types. My focus has been to identify the struggles municipalities are facing to build homes and to work with them to implement strategies and targeted solutions to those challenges. Overwhelmingly, what I've heard is that municipalities need more housing-enabling infrastructure. And that is why our government is providing over $1.8 billion to help build housing-enabled infrastructure across the province. And this is on top of our $1.2 billion Building Faster Fund, which is rewarding municipalities for hitting their housing targets. I've also heard from municipalities and sector partners that we need to find ways to cut red tape, and today's measures help speed up approvals and the endless delays to get shovels in the ground sooner. We're building homes faster and at a lower cost, including by letting homeowners and home builders decide the right number of parking spaces in new residential development near transit. We're also making it easier to build more garden, laneway, and basement suites by eliminating barriers to these units, including maximum lot coverage and limits on the number of bedrooms allowed per lot. We're prioritizing infrastructure for ready-to-go housing projects with a new use it or lose it process to make sure that builders get moving once they have received their approvals. We're improving consultation and providing municipalities and builders with a greater certainty to get more homes built faster, including by limiting third-party appeals to the Ontario Land Tribunal. And we're building more types of homes for more people by streamlining approvals for student housing, supporting standardized designs to reduce delays and costs, and supporting innovative construction measures like mass timber. We have made a commitment to get at least 1.5 million homes built by 2031. Today's legislation helps move the commitment forward in a substantial way, while also cutting red tape across government to help Ontario families and businesses. And with that, I'd be delighted to take any questions.
Minister, will these changes to development charges specifically, will they tackle the concerns that municipalities had that they would be short billions of dollars? Is the province going to make municipalities whole?
Great question, Robert. Absolutely. The changes that we have made to the development charge framework, in addition to the changes that we're proposing on the Bill 109. In addition, as you know, we had previously announced that attainable housing projects would be limited to government-owned land. So with all of these changes, including the $1.8 billion infrastructure fund, the $1.2 billion Building Faster Fund, we have listened to our municipal partners, and we're moving forward in a way that I think is much more cooperative and addressing those financial needs that they addressed.
And on the building code, are you going to return the electric chargers into the building code? They were mandated before. When you guys came in office in 2018, you said all new build houses didn't have to have electric car charging. You guys were against electric cars back then. Now you're basically bankrolling electric cars. So are you going to add that to the building code at some point?
Well, you're not wrong in the sense that we are doing a lot on the electric vehicle side of things, but it is not my intention at this point to be mandating that return. We are going to be harmonizing a number of building code issues with the federal government, but the efficiency standards will not be one of them.
When it comes to standardized housing, standardized housing plans, what types of housing are we looking at, and how does that work for a developer? Do they just pick something that the province has already laid out for them?
Yeah, look, I think what we want to do is across, right? It can be all forms of housing, single detached bungalows, it could be townhomes, basically anything that you can think of. We can work to ensure that it is a design that is approved and then provide that to our municipal partners. It's something that the federal government, as you know, has talked about. British Columbia is moving in that direction. I think we have a good opportunity here to work with them, and it helps streamline. We hear this a lot from our developer, home developer friends, that they will have a design approved in one community and move right next door to the next community and have to start the process all over again. So if we can do a bit more work on standardizing that at a time when other provinces are moving in the same direction, I think we'll be able to, I know that we'll be able to get more homes built faster, not only in Ontario, but across the country, frankly.
You're making changes as well to the MZO process. What was wrong with the MZO process before that needed fixing?
Yeah, look, I think what we heard very clearly was that people wanted it to be a more open and transparent process, and that I think I heard that loud and clear. So the new process will require a who, what, where, when, why. It'll be posted on the environmental registry for 30 days of public consultation. Look, I do still, as minister, reserve the right to make the decision on any ministerial zoning order, but I think people made it very clear that they wanted more transparency involved in the process. It also helps frame. The MZOs will be, along provincial priorities as well, and an ability to move a bit faster on the ones that are driven by municipalities.
So, but if an MZO request comes from inside the house, for lack of a better, if it comes from the Premier's office or anywhere else, you would just deny them?
Everybody will follow the same process. It will, who, what, where, when, why, posted on the registry for 30 days. So that we can get consultation back. We'll move quickly. Obviously, in instances where no provincial policy is called into question. But I think, by and large, what we heard from people is that it's an effective tool, but they want more transparency and openness in it, and the changes allow for that to happen. There's a portal that is already open, I believe, which will allow people to begin posting their requests for MZOs.
Minister, on the elimination of the DC phase, you guys introduced that in Bill 23 to stop the growth of DCs. These things were going to raise by a lot over a number of years, and now you're walking back on that. How is this going to do anything but add thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to the cost of a home in slow starts?
Yeah, one of the things, there's a couple of things that we heard. First of all, from our municipal partners, they had raised concerns with respect to their ability to fund housing enabling infrastructure. So we're coming forward, obviously, not coming forward, we've already announced a $1.8 billion program for infrastructure. We have the $200 million housing enabling waterfront or water infrastructure program. We have the $1.2 billion Building Faster Fund. What the changes allow us to do is address the make whole.
Let's go back now to the Ontario Legislature. Ontario's housing minister is speaking.
So that is the direction that we've chosen to go in because we think it'll help us get shovels in the ground faster. It also speaks to the time that you were talking about, the time uncertainty and the cost aspect of it. We've heard from a number of stakeholders, both from municipalities and from home builders, of the massive costs associated with some of these, certainly some of the more frivolous appeals.
You have one more question? There's more than a question period, just to switch gears here, but you made a pretty significant announcement saying that you'll support the NDP bill, it'll see intimate partner violence declared an epidemic. That's a pretty big shift for your government. It's previously been reluctant to do that. Why the change?
Look, I think what we want to do, to be clear, so we're supporting the private members' bill to get it into committee, but at the same time, I think it has become evident to us that we have to do a bit more work, not a bit, even a lot more work in helping ensure that we close gaps, helping address what we're hearing on this. We've heard from different communities, ethnic communities, frankly. We've heard from Indigenous partners. We've heard from Northern mayors that there are significant challenges that they are facing and that perhaps some of the programs and the work that we have done, and it has been significant work, but some of the work that we have done is not translating as effectively as it should on the ground. So we looked at the work that the Select Committee on Human Trafficking had done, and they came forward with some incredible recommendations that I think has made Ontario a world leader in combating human trafficking. And this is a very, very, I will say, a very sincere attempt to work together. We bring the ministers forward, bring the service providers forward, hear from victims, and see where we can close gaps, improve resources, improve access to justice, and ensure that we're really meeting the needs of victims first and foremost, and the people who are providing services to victims. I don't think we're quite there yet, and that's why I think. Plus, not to limit it, I want to. sincere. Like, if we need to go to other parts of the country and see what they're doing, if they're doing it better, we'll do it. The committee will be empowered to do that. If we need to go to Ottawa and see what changes need to happen there, we'll ask them to also provide information. So this will be a very, very open process that is aimed at giving us not only making a declaration, but the tools that are needed to make sure that if whatever we do is impactful and meets the goals of what I think what we all want.
I just want to make sure I'm clear on your answer. You said you made a distinction of saying you'll support it to get it to committee. Does that mean you may not necessarily support the declaration depending on what's heard at committee?
Yeah, well, because it's a private member's bill, and I think as House Leader, I've always been very clear that I don't pass bills at all three stages on a single sitting. It's that's just not what I do. There is a process that has to go through, but what we're doing today is we're saying that we support what the aims of what was been brought forward by I think it's 4 members of the opposition combined in one private member's bill, but at the same time, we want to ensure that in isolation on its own, I guess this is where sometimes we run into challenges. And if you forgive me for going on a little bit longer than you probably would like, but sometimes we make declarations or we say things and then the actions don't match the declarations that are made. And what we learned during the human trafficking in particular was that it's not enough to say you're combating. You have to change laws. You have to get out and work with service providers. You have to listen to victims, and that is the only way you will truly make a difference. So it is our goal to do that work at the same time that we're reviewing the bill. The bill in itself is not a challenging one, but I want to be able to say that we have, as a parliament, that we have done the work, and the work matches the declaration. So
both, like make the action, but also name it as the survivors have asked for, to put the finger on the actual problem.
Yeah, and that's what the parliamentary committee will do, right? That is why we're signaling today that we are passing this bill. I suspect it'll be, I don't want to prejudge, but I suspect it'll be a unanimous vote in the House today. And the committee will be given the tools and resources that they need to move the dial forward on this. I was trying to avoid today, we've done this and that. We've done a lot of things, but I don't think the victims want to hear from government of all of the things that we have done. They've identified gaps, not only in Ontario, but gaps nationally. And this committee will have the power to identify, recommend those gaps so that whatever we do will have meaning for the people who are in the galleries today and the people across the province. So it's my goal to get there, but I won't do it just in isolation. I want to be able to bring something forward that makes sense and respects what people are asking us to do. And I think we can do it. Human Trafficking Select Committee taught us anything, that when we do work together and when we force an issue, we can actually accomplish great things. And Ontario is an international leader on that. And what we have done there is being jurisdictions around the world are asking us for help on that. So.
We've been listening to Paul Calandra, Ontario's housing minister, talking about some new housing legislation and also talking about the NDP bill to address intimate partner violence as an epidemic.